There are so many amazing and dangerous things Mother Nature throws at us from time to time, but not all of them have we been able to experience or at least capture on camera. Even though no one would wish to be a victim of some of these deadly natural occurring phenomena, they still make a great sight when experienced. Sometimes they even remind us of how much an impact our seemingly little daily choices make in our universe. From a continent splitting in two, a great smog that killed over 1,200 people, greenhouse explosions, volcano lightning storms and tsunamis made of ice chunks, we've got the footage to fill you in on some of the details. Today, we'll show you the most dangerous natural phenomena ever recorded on camera. But before we get started, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe and click the notification bell for more such amazing content. Number 12. Africa splitting in two. The splitting of the Earth's landmass to form new continents is in fact nothing new in the Earth's donkey years history, at least according to some scientists who believe that 350 million years ago, Europe, Antarctica, Asia, North America, South America, Africa and Oceania were actually just one landmass called Pangaea, until it started breaking apart an estimated 175 million years ago to form the 7 continents we now have on the world map. Looking at how Africa and South America may seem to fit like two puzzle pieces is also part of the reason why this theory exists. Well, even though you and I weren't present when nature was doing the land sharing, we might just be in for some of the action to see how it may have happened when it's about to split Africa into 2 continents. A large crack suddenly appears in Narok County, Kenya, and the crack has been getting bigger and bigger as the country continues to experience heavy rainfall and purported earthquakes in the newly forming tectonic plate boundary. However, the main reason for the sudden split and the rifting is a bit complicated. The scientists couldn't agree even though they've been aware of its occurrence for quite a while now. Some believe it's due to the superplume upwelling along the continent's eastern edge burning a hole in the Earth's crust. In contrast, others think it's due to the constant rainfall and flooding in the region that washed away the deep layers of the loose volcanic ash deposited by previous volcanic eruptions. Whatever the true cause may be, we're just amazed by the fact that we might just be gifted an 8th continent soon. Number 11. Winds of Mount Washington. We've spoken before about earthquakes and sinkholes, but one place that's well known to have more than one dangerous phenomenon is Mount Washington. Dense fog, heavy icing, extreme velocity winds, massive snowfalls and significant cold. Mount Washington has it all. In fact, for over 60 years, this mountain in Hampshire held the world record for the fastest wind gust ever recorded, with a gust as high as 231 miles per hour, recorded in 1934. Mount Washington may not be the coldest of all places, but it stands as one of the harshest places on the entire planet, even rivaling some areas in the polar regions with 3 to 4 times higher plains. While many scientists do visit the mountain from time to time for the sake of scientific and educational research, it's not really a great place you'd be eager to go during winter. Number 10. Mega Desert Haboob. Have you ever been caught outside by a heavy storm? You know how it tries to snatch everything away from you violently, and no matter how much you try, you just can't get good visibility of where you're trying to go? Quite dangerous, right? Well, multiply that by maybe 5,000 and what you'll get is a haboob. A haboob is a type of intense dust storm carried on a weather front. As a windstorm occurs, the downward winds strike the desert valley floor, pick up dust and carry it in the direction the wind is traveling. To give you perspective of how big and dangerous it can be, a haboob can go more than 5,000 feet in height, 100 miles in width, and reduce visibility level to 0. It can be nightmarish, especially when you're driving on a highway. With the sound of the name and the description of what it is, it's easy to think haboobs only occur somewhere in the Middle East and Arabian deserts, but that's far from the truth. In fact, haboobs have been observed in almost every part of the world, including the European Peninsula, North Africa, the deserts of Central Australia, China, the United States, and of course the Sahara across the Arabian Peninsula. In a nutshell, any dry region may experience a haboob just as they are frequently encountered in the deserts of Arizona, New Mexico, Albuquerque, and Eastern California in the United States. And the thing is, there's no running away to space from this monster, as they also occur on Mars in the same magnitude as Earth. Number 9. Fire tornadoes. Now, haboobs sound bad, nightmarish and all, but the truth is most of what they carry is dust, plus they mostly happen in deserts. you see fire tornadoes? They're the real deal, and you don't want to experience it up close in any form or shape. I mean, if you've seen the destructive power of massive tornadoes, it won't be that hard to imagine how dangerous one mixed with fire is. Most fire tornadoes are formed when turbulent winds meet rising heat and wildfire. It starts with a whirl of wind which becomes visible once it starts drawing in smoke and dirt. They can go more than 3,000 feet in height and travel at a speed of more than 120 miles per hour. However, authorities don't usually wait for it to rack up that much momentum before sounding warnings to the area residents to be aware of what's happening in their neighborhood. Although so many occurrences of fire tornadoes have been recorded in the United States, mostly in California and Nevada areas, the most extreme and deadliest occurrence of fire tornado ever recorded happened on September 1st, 1923 on the Japanese island of Honshu, killing over 38,000 people in the Hifukushu Atoll region of Tokyo in 15 minutes. The firestorm was ignited by a 7.9 magnitude earthquake that struck the Kanto plain of Honshu. The fire quickly spread into the city, destroying buildings, water mains, and incinerating everything in its path. Number 8. The Great Smog of London. Fog adds an air of mystery to the environment, but not when it's smog. The infamous Great Smog of London is considered as the worst air pollution crisis that affected the United Kingdom. Things got really dark one fine day in London in 1952. The smog took over the entire city in December and stuck around for 5 days. People didn't panic during this event since Londoners are used to fogs on a routine basis. Though at the time it wasn't understood, the smog descended over the city due to unusually cold weather, anticyclone and windless conditions coupled with air particulates from coal mining operations. The whole event claimed the lives of around 12,000 people, and around 100,000 people were made ill by its effects on the respiratory system. London has experienced poor air quality since the 13th century, but this incident alone was the worst in its history. Number 7. The polar vortex. Talking about cold weather and rapid change in temperature, the polar vortex is arguably the father of rapid and unusual change in temperature. A polar vortex is located about 10 to 30 miles away in the stratospheres. It's usually found in the northern and southern hemispheres during winter in the form of ring-like winds. These ring-like winds are blown averagely at a speed of 100 miles per hour from west to east. Due to the drop in temperature during winter, there could be some sort of repositioning of the ring-like winds. This is quite unpredictable as it can cause weird and unexpected weather conditions on Earth. Research has also shown the effect of the polar vortex on some other planets. Perhaps we're not alone in the universe after all. Number 6. Devastating locust plagues. You may have read the biblical account of how the Egyptians were plagued by swarms of locusts and some other pests. Well, it looks like these desert locust guys haven't changed their antics to date, as they're now revered as the world's most devastating pest. And why not? From Kenya, Ethiopia to Yemen and northern India, these armies of tiny insects swarming together in their trillions are known to devour thousands of square meters of precious crops within minutes, wreaking havoc on people's means of survival in these regions. According to scientists, a swarm of about a third of a square mile can eat what it'll take 35,000 people to eat in one day. Imagine that appetite. One question that begs to be asked is how and when do these desert locusts gather in their trillions before carrying out the attacks? Well, the truth is they don't exactly call a meeting and make strategies. Swarms form during the peak of their breeding season. As they breed, their population becomes crowded. When that happens, there's less food to go around. The food shortage makes them go all into a frenzy, leading to migration and invasion of people's farms, which sometimes could lead to famine and economic instability. Number 5. Crazy volcanic lightning. With the word volcanic in volcanic lightning, it's easy to fall into thinking it erupts from the earth as volcanoes do. However, this phenomenon doesn't exactly have the same characteristics as earthquakes and other tectonic-driven phenomena. Volcanic lightning is an aftermath of a volcanic eruption. It occurs when the tiny gas particles escaping from a volcano become electrically charged due to frictional force generated when the particles rub against each other. This phenomenon dates back to almost 2,000 years ago, before there was confirmation of it during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 1944. Research has shown ice's role, such as in thunderclouds, formed at the top of the ash cloud bearing water vapor. Number 4. Huge ice tsunami. Another dangerous scenario is the ice shoves, which are not common, although there have been some records about ice shoves some years ago, in 1822 actually. Recently there's been an incident of wind gusts around the Lake Erie region. In this region it was observed that the wind gusts push ice chunks off the lake. With this great force you can be sure that this could clear anything in its path, including trees and power lines. Some factors that could cause ice shoves include the springtime season, windy environment and a slanting shoreline. Number 3. Invasion of the murder hornets. While desert locusts are known as the world's most devastating pest, murder hornets are arguably the most hated pest in the world. 1. They're considered to be largely useless. 2. They massacre the useful honey-producing bees for fun. 3. Multiple stings from them can prove fatal to human beings. In a nutshell, they've got nothing good to offer, it seems. Although they are predominantly found in Asia, this group of insects has also been discovered for the first time in North America. Before that, in Canada, where they are actively being killed. Number 2. Hungry sinkhole. Talking about complications and not being in agreement, whenever a natural disaster affects many people, we always have two groups of people. The government and environmentalists who think it's just nature and the results of geological changes, and those who blame large industrial conglomerates for causing the unfavourable and unexpected changes in nature's order. Well, this is exactly what's playing out in the Mexican state of Puebla. A giant sinkhole formed aided by a series of rainy days, which saw it double in size to reach over 400 feet in length at some point, with possibilities of it growing bigger. Some experts said it could be caused by an underground river, while residents speculate that it results from water extraction by factories nearby. After the sinkhole swallowed a house and got 2 dogs trapped in it, thankfully they were rescued after 4 days by firefighters, most of the residents are becoming increasingly worried that it's just a matter of time before their houses get swallowed by the rapidly expanding sinkhole if the government doesn't do anything about it fast. Well, while others are worried, some locals have also found a way to get inspired by the tragedy. A local music group released a song about the sinkhole, and a local bakery began selling sinkhole-inspired bread that even includes small figurines of dogs inside the pastry. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade. Permafrost explosions. Imagine soil that stays frozen a whole year. What do you think might happen to it? Permafrost itself is simply soil that has locked up organic material such as dead plants. These locked up organic materials are frozen, and so all other processes like rotting that are supposed to happen are inhibited. However, they may start to decompose when the permafrost defrosts. This will cause a release of greenhouse gases like methane. With the recent happenings, permafrost has led to the explosion of the ground that leaves a massive hole up to 100 feet deep. This is quite noticeable in areas such as Siberia, where heat waves are increasing, warming up the country, leading to more accumulation of methane that would eventually lead to an explosion. And that's all for today. Let us know in the comments about the one which surprised you the most. If you enjoyed this content and want to see more, be sure to smash the like button, share and subscribe.